The NFL Combine is in the books. That's right. The 49ers traded wide receiver Deebo Samuel. And could they be possibly on the move in trading Brandon Aiyuk? Smash that like button and let's get ready for the Wayne Breezie Show. What's going on, 49er faithful? Welcome to the Wayne Breezie Show. Where's my foghorn, man? Let's go. We're touching down. Shout out to everybody out there for tuning in to our live Monday show. Special shout out to all the Breezy Bunch crew members, man. Those that support the channel. Appreciate you 1,000%. Make sure you guys smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead. Click on subscribe, baby. All right, click on subscribe. We got to do our early morning shout outs. I see my man Rob D was first in the chat. Appreciate you, dog. Peachy in the building. Good afternoon, Breezy and the faithful. Going to be a crazy free agency year. Yeah, we did a breaking news video during the NFL Combine because Deebo Samuel was traded, and here comes all the releases, I call them cap casualties we're about to get. 49ers underscore throwback is definitely in the building. Boats, what's going on, baby? With the hashtag BB. Collins in the building as well. So is my brother Ben. What's going on? JP hella hard. I see you out there praying for you and the family, my guy. Let's go ahead. Corey in the chat as well. Mike, I see you all out there, man. Appreciate you for tuning in. Listen, what a crazy weekend. I really do love the NFL Combine, and I get really buckled up. You can see I'm rocking my Senior Bowl gear right now because a lot of the prospects I got to see first, and at firsthand at the Senior Bowl, the Reese Senior Bowl. So I got to see them firsthand, and so the reason why I invest in going to that every year is because I want to give you out there first dibs on what I see with my own eyes, you know what I mean? And what I hear with my ears and things like that. And so when they get to the Combine, hopefully in 1 year I'll be able to report from the Combine. But when they get to the Combine, it's just a testing site. So it's not like the Senior Bowl. It's nothing like the Senior Bowl. The Senior Bowl, they're not testing strength, agility, speed, anything like that. Like they're actually practicing and about to play in an all-star game. But at the Combine, they're testing all of those things. And so it was really cool to sit back and kind of just have my notes out and document things and watch things and tweet things like in live action. It was really fun to watch. Wasn't really bored except for the quarterbacks. I thought the quarterbacks were boring. Like, I don't know why. I think the quarterbacks were boring because we didn't get the two top tier quarterbacks, Shedeur Sanders. You didn't get the kid Cam Warford. You didn't get those guys throwing, but I did like what I saw from the quarterbacks that did throw, had some risers. So if you guys want to check out my risers video, I did a day 1, day 2, day 3, and a day 4 NFL Combine. I gave you 2 players from each position that I felt like definitely improved their draft stock. So just check out those videos out there. They're up here, and on the channel. So check them out. Give them a like, give a comment. I'm asking you to interact on those. I want to get your thoughts as well. And if you saw some of the things that I actually got a chance to see, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to my brother Oscar in the building. Heads down, thumbs up. Let's all play 7 Up. Let's go. I like that one. So, definitely, and on today's episode, I'll definitely ask you, out there since you're live, and for those that are listening to it on the podcast, definitely appreciate it. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Apple Podcast as well, or Spotify Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts from. Shout out to Apple, shout out to Spotify. They're definitely doing their thing. You know what I'm saying? You could go right there, but I liked a lot of the guys. I'm not gonna lie. Some of the guys caught my attention that I wasn't in on. I learned something new from some of the players out there. But let's go ahead and get into today's episode, 49ers based. And we got to start with the Deebo Samuel trade because, a lot of people feel like we should have got more. there's so many different things that what kind of went down, and some people feel like this was the value for the fifth round pick. And what do you think? Do you think we got enough for Deebo Samuel? Now, just to give you some context behind the situation, the 49ers, the Washington Commanders we're willing to take on per his contract for this year. So the contract for this year with Deebo was set to make, I think, about 18 point something million dollars this particular season. The Commanders are going to be on the books for taking over that contract. Now, with the Commanders decide to work out a new deal after the new league year starts, that's on the Commanders. But for the 49ers, they get to clear that cap space. Does that make any sense? So they get a fifth round pick and $18 million kind of back. And I understand there's a dead money cap and all that type of stuff. I'm not going to get into any of that. That's not my expertise. But if there is the dead cap money, I believe you can spread it out in some voided years and pay that in payment installments, right? I believe that's what you could do with the dead cap money. You don't got to pay it all right now. But the Niners did get the trade done. I didn't think there was going to be a team that was even willing to trade for Deebo Samuel, especially with the situation that the Niners had to make a decision by March 22nd, and possibly the Niners were going to cut him with the first round designation. I mean, with the June 1st designation. That was kind of like the word going on. But if you look where Deebo Samuel was traded, he was traded to the Commanders. And for those that don't know, the Commanders and the 49ers are one of those two teams that are probably going to always share some ties. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean, you look at Adam Peters over there. He's running the ship over there. Adam Peters and John Lynch are really good friends. And so this could have been just one of those deals. Now, for Deebo, he gets to go to an organization that is aware, and they know who he is. They know what he does. And he gets to go back to Adam Peters. I wouldn't be surprised if Adam Peters, didn't help with the draft processing and the scouting on Deebo Samuel, because his role at that time was drafting, right? Like, that was what his role was. Deebo Samuel was a former second round pick for the San Francisco 49ers. That was the year, I think the last year, Kyle Shanahan got an opportunity to be the head coach of the Senior Bowl. So he got the hands on, the up close and personal thing with Deebo Samuel. So he's going to the Commanders. He's going to be Commanders. Now, it's set. It's not official because the new league year hasn't started yet, but this is the deal that's pending. He's not a free agent, so it's not breaking any laws. This is a trade that's going down. Now, the Niners do get a fifth round pick. I believe they're going to get pick 148. All right, pick 148. I love that, right? Pick 148. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to be kind of dope. You know what I'm saying? Oscar says that all the $31 million is going to be all this year, so they have to pay it all this year. So I guess, you could. Okay, so I see what you're saying. You could spread over two after the June 1st cut. Oh, so since we're not cutting him and we're trading him, we're responsible for the dead cap money. But listen, you know what it is? I think that when it comes to Deebo Samuel and the dead cap money, and Jason is the expertise at this cap. Make sure you guys are following him, and he does really. This is his gift. Like, he has a gift for numbers. We're talking, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Jason is amazing when it comes to cap. And if you want only 49ers cap space talk, contract situations, you got to follow Jason. All right, you got to follow him. That's the guy. You know what I'm saying? And I could look at his stuff and not understand what the hell he's talking about, but we got to get him on the show. And maybe after we get through some of this free agency stuff, we'll get him on the show and we'll kind of break some of these things down. But I think I get what Oscar is saying now. It makes sense. If you were cutting him, you could spread it over a couple of years. But since you're not cutting him and he's being traded, the Niners are going to be responsible for, I guess, the dead cap money, but not the salary base. Not his salary that he was going to be paying for this year. So I'm not sure how that's going to work out. It's going to be interesting to see. All right, see a couple of questions out there. We usually do well in the fifth round, so maybe this will be a good pick. That's from Alex. Yeah, maybe it is. We didn't have a fifth round pick, and that's the cool thing, right? Now we got a fifth round pick. And because of that fifth round pick, we usually do draft well in the fifth round. I mean, you look at Dre Greenlaw, you look at George Kittle. Those are some of the two names. George Kittle's an all-pro. Some fifth round picks we don't hit on. Okay, it's okay. I mean, was Talanoa Hufanga a fifth round pick? I believe Talanoa Hufanga was a fifth round pick. Let me just look up the 49ers draft picks, draft history real quick. I believe he was a 5th-round pick. If so, you could say you hit on him because Talanoa Hufanga was an All-Pro. He was an All-Pro. He's going to be a free agent this year. Let's see. Let's go back to Kyle Shanahan's 5th-round picks. All right, just to take a look at what we did since 2017. So we drafted 2. So we currently on this roster have our 2 5th-round picks. We currently on our roster have our 2 5th-round picks. We have George Kittle and Trent Taylor. Makes sense why they're cool and buddy-buddy. They came in the same draft class, drafted in the same round. So they're currently on the 49ers roster. We'll talk about Trent Taylor a little bit later. All right. Then DJ Reed was a 5th-round pick in 2018. He's no longer here, but he is a free agent. He could be coming back. Dre Greenlaw was the 5th-round pick in 2019, the same draft of Deebo Samuel and Nick Bosa. So that was our 5th-round pick then. He will be probably entering free agency. Colton McKivitz is here. Colton McKivitz is the starting right tackle for the 49ers, 5th-round pick. And we go back to 2021. All right. I knew it. We had 3 5th-round picks in 2021. And I would say 2 of them we're going to hit on. One of them became an All-Pro. And I think the next one is going to become an All-Pro this season. Jalen Moore, free agent, is probably going to test free agency. Talanoa Hufanga, probably going to test free agency. I would like for them to bring him back. But he became an All-Pro. And then Deommodore Lenoir. But Deommodore Lenoir got the contract extension, got the big contract extension, right? Over Talanoa Hufanga, over Jalen Moore. So those are the 5th-round picks from 2021. Our 5th-round pick in 2022 was Samuel Womack. He's gone. We cut him, right? He ended up playing really good football for the Indianapolis Colts. And then we got to look at 2023's 5th-round picks. What are we going to do with Darrell Luter Jr.? I believe Ray Brown is going to be big on the Darrell Luter Jr. Progression and stuff like that. Having a guy to come in here coach these DBs, I believe that's going to help Darrell Luter Jr. and Robert Bill. What will we get from Robert Bill this year under Robert Saleh? Could be seeing some type of production from Robert Bill. Now, we did not have a 5th-round pick in 2024, and we recently didn't have a 5th-round pick in 2025, but with the Deebo Samuel trade, we now have a 5th-round pick. So this is great, right? This is amazing for the 49ers. Now they could do a bunch of things with this 5th-round pick, and with the draft being this deep, especially at 2 positions, I would say the draft is super deep. Maybe 3, 2 and a possible. I'm on my spades talk right now. 2 and a possible, I would say. Number 1, draft is deep at defensive tackle, not defensive edge. Tackle. I think there's edge rushers, but the talent lies really early. Like, you got to get those guys and pick them early. But the tackle position, you can kind of you could find some dogs. Like, if we're gonna draft a tackle and we don't get one of the premier guys, sign me up for CJ West, man. Give me the 315-pounding, I'm getting to your quarterback and I can stop the run at the same damn time type of a guy. You know what I'm saying? He's just explosive. You watch them at the combine. Explosive. You got explosiveness from CJ West. Speed, burst, get off, everything. So if we're going to go a little later, which I'm cool with, I could live with. I could do a CJ West. I could do a Ty Robinson. I could do those guys. You could get 2 of those guys like we've done prior in some of the drafts. Get 2 defensive tackles instead of spending on the big one and probably fill maybe get an edge early. Like, you know what I mean? So there's some things that the Niners could do in the draft. I would say when it comes to the 5th-round pick, though, it's sad. I'm sad that Deebo Samuel is gone because I really wanted him to get an opportunity to win a championship with the 49ers. I think that was my thing. He had 2 tries, and we just couldn't get it done. I do think, though, that he's going to a team that's going to be able to give him the opportunity to compete. And how crazy would it be if it's the Washington Commanders versus the San Francisco 49ers, right? In the NFC Championship. I think that junk would be amazing. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think that junk would be amazing. So for the 49ers, this 5th-round pick may actually help them out. And again, now that the Niners have a 5th-rounder, they might be able to bundle up some of these picks and move up again in the 2nd round. My theory on the draft, and when I start doing my mock drafts, as I continue to do my mock drafts, my theory is getting at least, I would say 4 to 5 top 100 players. I'm sorry. Like, that's what I want on the 49ers. If they already are making the statement that they want to go younger, then I want to make sure I'm getting 4 to 5 top 100 players. And if you don't understand what that means the top 100 ranked players. That's who I want on the 49ers. I want them to get at least 4 or 5 of them. And I feel like there's a way that they can possibly do that. They got a first-round pick, second-round pick. How many third-round picks? We got 2 third-round picks. So that's 4 right there. Can we find a way to move back up? Can we do something like that? Or can some of those top 100 players fall out and fall down? And then now having that 5th-round pick, I think, helps us out tremendously, in my opinion. So for me, huge Deebo fan. Understand that the play was declining. Understand that the Niners were in a kind of like a bad contractual situation. It's time to pay Brock. That's how I'm looking at this. So the Niners got to cut some cap. They got to cut some cap. And I'm not saying that Deebo Samuel's money is the reason that they can use to pay Brock, but it helps, okay? It helps. And so him, Hargrave, think of some of these big cap hits that we had. Expect George Kittle to get some type of an extension to lower his cap hit because he's got the biggest cap hit, one of the biggest cap hits. Expect Fred Warner to restructure. He's probably got the biggest cap hit coming into this year and he restructured last year. So they're going to just keep pushing his money down. He'll still get the money, but they're going to probably try to relieve some of the cap space pressure. And so, look, I expect that the 49ers, going to get the goddamn job done with what they have. And free agency is right underway. So we got free agency coming up really soon, and we're going to be really, really gearing toward free agency more than the draft because free agency is coming, and the Niners got holes to fill, and there's so many different options out there. Keep your ears to the streets because players are getting released left and right, and a lot of these players are going to be good fits for the 49ers. My only question is, if the mantra from John Lynch, he spoke about this, is to get younger. And I feel like that meant I took that in 2 ways. I took that by age. I did. But I also took that by contracts, meaning they need younger players, cheaper contracts, younger good players and cheaper contracts. So they gotta when it comes to free agency, they really gotta sift through perfect fits, fit the age mold, and get them in here on some cheaper deals. That's just my opinion on how I think the Niners are going to attack free agency. That's just my opinion, okay? So don't put that out there. Just Breezy's take. It's my opinion. I feel like that's how they're going to attack free agency. If they go big name, big splash, don't really look for that. Now, if they do anything big, it may be a trade. I'll leave that up to you guys. All right? It may be a trade. So players are going to get released. I'm hoping Devontae Adams get released, but then again, that's the age factor. Does the age override that theory? Because he has the skill set that I think will fit well with the San Francisco 49ers. I don't know. I really don't know what the Niners are going to do when it comes to that, but I'm definitely excited to see what they do. All right, let's talk about Brandon Aiyuk because the Brandon Aiyuk situation started popping off at the NFL Combine. So the question is, could the 49ers move on from Brandon Aiyuk? Now, could they? For me to answer the question is yes, they could. They absolutely can. Will they? I'm hoping not. Like, I don't want them to. You know what I mean? So I put could for a reason, right? Because there are options. Because if there's a team that's going to make the 49ers an offer that they can't refuse, and hear me out, I know Brandon Aiyuk's people or him, they're going to be watching this for some reason. And this is not a shot at Brandon Aiyuk. Hold on. Let me go full screen. I got to go full screen. I do not want the 49ers to trade Brandon Aiyuk. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Man, that's me personally, because I get attached. I'm not going to lie. I'm human. Okay. But I understand that this is business. Okay. So let's get back to the business situation. So Aaron Rappaport reported from our Combine broadcast, after the 49ers traded Deebo Samuel, could they also trade Brandon Aiyuk? That would be a challenge, but they do need more. They need money to pay Brock Purdy and others. ... Now, I do understand that the salary cap is going up. I get it, but this is a possibility. And when I look at the 49ers, I say to myself, man, what would they be like without Brandon Aiyuk? Well, we found out a little bit last season what the 49ers offense was like without Brandon Aiyuk. And we're going to find a lot this season what the 49ers offense is like without Brandon Aiyuk. And here's why. He's recovering from one of the craziest knee injuries known to man. I mean, it was 3 tears in the knee. Not 1, not 2, but 3 tears in the knee. And I'm not saying that he's damaged goods. That's not what I'm saying. But that may be what the 49ers are thinking. And I don't think the 49ers organization liked the way Brandon Aiyuk handled stuff. And if they're going with high character guys, I don't think Brandon Aiyuk did anything out of character. Let me be the first to say this. He didn't do anything out of character. But the way he went about his business was a little different than most players would probably go about their business. I don't feel like he should be faulted for it. I don't know if Jed York holds any types of grudges. If my thing was this, Jed, if you had a problem with it, why'd you pay him? Why'd you agree to pay him? So don't hit me with this crap now. I don't want to hear anything about his character or how he handled it. That makes 0 sense to me because you already paid him. Now, if you find a team that's willing to take on his contract that you already agreed and offered him, if you find a team that's willing to do that, then I'm listening. Why? Because now you could kind of move on from a guy that you just don't know is going to bounce back to the guy that you drafted. That would be the only reason why, business-wise, I would move on from Brandon Aiyuk. Other than that, he's the 49ers' best receiver. Hands down, ain't even close. And you know I love my dog, Jawan Jennings. He's the best. He's their best receiver. He's their true X, true one, true this, true that. But what will make it difficult is if the 49ers move on from him, it's going to have to be a team that's willing to, what would the compensation be? Because he's injured. So how high of a draft pick could the 49ers potentially get? Like, he's injured. He's not even cleared to play football yet. Now, I think we got to look at teams that the 49ers have ties with. We already serviced the Washington Commanders and Adam Peters. The Texans need a wide receiver, y'all. I'm sorry. The Texans need a wide receiver. Stephon Diggs is going to be a free agent. Tank Dell's coming off of a gruesome injury as well. Brandon Aiyuk, if his healing process is a little bit better, maybe he'll be the guy. You know what I'm saying? But I guess my thing is if what would be the compensation that you're looking for Brandon Aiyuk? Now, David Lombardi, shout out to David Lombardi, he put out here, if the 49ers traded Brandon Aiyuk, no, they would not be paying more for Aiyuk to play somewhere else. Those were kind of like the rumors out there that was going down, all right? That was kind of like some of the rumors. San Francisco's cap must still be absorbed $18.4 million of Aiyuk's $23 million prorated signing bonus. The 49ers aren't escaping that cap charge, but they can escape the $22.85 million 2025 option and the $24.935 million 2026 option, both which fully vest exactly 1 month from now on April 1st. So a trade would save the 49ers over $110 million over the next 4 years, but the cap charge would go up about $7.7 million a year. So you got to play the game. Do we want to save 110 and spend 7? Like, this is the business. These are the economics of the business of what's going on with these players. And then you got to look at Brandon Aiyuk and say, all right, man, is Aiyuk going to be the guy that we drafted? I think that's the hardest part. Boat says a 4th round pick for BA. We're not getting a 3rd or better. a third or a fourth, I believe. That's what Oscar asked for as well. Shout out to the members of the Breezy Bunch crew, man. I appreciate you guys for sure. Shout out to all the subscribers watching as well. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and click on that subscribe button. But I think the Niners saving them some money over in the long run kind of like helps them out, especially if they're able to move on from a player and they see that there's a draft where they can get some other guys. Now, me personally, I would like to try to move him to a team like the Houston Texans. DeMeco Ryans knows him very well. Where did I'm trying to think. I think Slowick is in. Did he get a job with Seattle? Felt like he got fired from the Texans, but now I think he's with Seattle. I can't remember where he went. I don't want him going to Seattle, so that's out of the question. But this is going to be interesting to see what the 49ers do. I think that they're listening to calls. And I think that they're looking at, David Lombardi put it out there about the future money. And I think that's what the Niners are looking into. They're not going to get anything. They're not going to get much from Brandon Aiyuk this year. And I'm not rooting against him. I'm not saying that he's not going to come back. But do you rush Brandon Aiyuk back? Like, really off of that, a 3-knee tear? Like, I'm not. Bruh, take the season, get right, let it heal for real. All the double-doubles. Everything you got to do, you got to make sure it's right. Now, I do understand technology is different, so he could be ready to go. I just don't know if that's something that I would do personally. You know what I mean? But we'll see what happens. They have ties. I like that DeMeco would know who he is. Could probably get him in. They actually need a wide receiver. They needed one. They got Nico Collins. I think that pairing would be crazy. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine Brandon Aiyuk and Nico Collins on the same roster at some point and just dominating? They would kind of like have that Tampa Bay, because that's who Brandon Aiyuk reminds me of. Brandon Aiyuk reminds me of, like, I feel like him and Chris Godwin are the same type of receiver, right? Always can get open, always threats in the red zone, just move the ball, great in space, find holes in the zones, could beat man coverage. Like, I feel like those are two guys that I really love watching play football. Brandon Aiyuk. And then they're dogs. I think Ayuk's the better blocking wide receiver than Chris Godwin, but I feel like those two guys are like two peas in a pod, in my opinion. Those would be two wide receivers that I compare. But, we'll see what happens. Godwin is a free agent, so maybe that's the guy that goes to Houston and Brandon Aiyuk stays. Now, I feel like I would love Brandon Aiyuk to get healthy, get right, and just do the damn thing right here in freaking San Francisco, because I just want to hear his name. I want to hear the foghorn as he catches touchdowns and things like that. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens. I personally do not want to trade Brandon Aiyuk. I don't. He's not old. He's not any of that. But what he is coming off of a crazy injury, y'all. Crazy injury. So I guess it comes down to, if a team makes the 49ers an offer that they can't refuse, and maybe that offer is a 4th round pick. Maybe that offer is would you trade Brandon Aiyuk for a 5th round pick and clear a lot of that money? No. I guess we'll have to see. Now, I know on Twitter I posted, if the 49ers are interested in a free agent, they need to get the guy whose name starts with a T and ends with an H. And so I was referring to his last name starting with an H, not ending with an H. So clearly I know how to spell Higgins, for those that don't understand what I meant in my head as I was kind of typing and like driving, which you shouldn't do. So do not type and drive. All right. But anyway, yeah, I would love T. Higgins. I see Derek Thomas says I want T. Higgins. I would love T. Higgins. Listen, it's not realistic that we're going to get T. Higgins. We already have money that we got to pay. We're already paying one wide receiver, and on top of that, we have to pay our quarterback. And a lot of people are forgetting that that's the key. The key is we had an opportunity to win a Super Bowl. We blew it, and now money talks. It's time to pay the freaking quarterback. That's what it is. It's just time to pay the quarterback. Brock's got to get paid. And there's ways to get around that too. I mean, they don't have to pay Brock right now, but I mean, I feel like they should. You know what I mean? I feel like they should get that done. Don't have to worry about your quarterback, but he will be taking a big chunk of the salary cap. Maybe not this year, maybe not in 2026, but 2027, 2028, when those quarterback numbers come in, he's going to probably hit the cap real big. But hopefully the Niners will have their Super Bowl by then. Like, you know what I mean? Starts with the T and ends with Higgins. I like that. That's what I should have said. That would have been perfect. See, Niner faithful, I wish you were in my mind when I was right. That's what I was meant to say. That's exactly what it was. Ends with an H. You get it, but leave it up to Twitter world, man. They'll charge you, dog. They'll put you in jail for not being able to spell, man. I've been in jail all weekend, like, dang, like, you know what I mean? All right, my man Ben says, can we rush too many players? Cause we rush too many players out of injury. So let them heal, and I mean heal, and let's go from there. Listen, this is my theory. When you look at Brandon Aiyuk, the injury was bad. He didn't just tear his ACL, he tore his ACL, PCL, MCL, right? I think all three of those, if I'm not mistaken. I might have got a letter wrong. I'm not a doctor, just going off of my memory. But yeah, like it was pretty daggone bad, you know, and it's crazy because it didn't look as bad, but man, when you realize what he did, you were like, dang, like it tore in three ways. We rushed Christian McCaffrey back. We rushed probably Jordan Mason back. Like, we do tend to rush these guys back from injuries. I don't think we rush them. I think they get cleared to play, but the game is so rigorous and violent that their bodies just aren't ready for that same impact right away. They need to go through a really good healing process on some of the injuries. You know what I'm saying? Some of the injuries. They got to go through that crazy healing process and then ease their way back into football. That's why I always say, man, guys got to get back into football shape. Even with Deebo Samuel. Like, Deebo Samuel, when he got pneumonia, it changed. Everything changed. Like, everything changed. And it was just like he couldn't even really he couldn't get back into gear. Like, you know what I mean? Yep, he struggled in dropping passes. Yep, he struggled with other stuff. It was just more enhanced because he just wasn't ready to play football after missing the game or two. So, like, I'm telling you, like, that's a big thing. Like, being in football ready to go mode after you miss. All right, I'll put it like this. If you work out, okay, because I'm a prime example, right? If you work out and you skip a day and then you skip another day, when you go back, listen, even after you skip one day, even if it's your rest day, let's just say you don't skip a day. Let's just say you're going to rest. When you go back and you work out, your body is like, nah. Like you got to warm it up. You got to give it time to get back into workout mode. It's weird. It's just weird how things work. So football is kind of like the same way. Like, you got to ease back into things. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to ease back into things. Now, as far as these injuries, I'm glad Christian McCaffrey is set to make a big comeback and stuff like that. And he's had plenty of time to kind of like get his body in gear because he plays hard. He plays violent. Like, that football's a violent sport. You can't play the game soft. I'm not mad at the players. I'm not mad at the coaches. I don't think you can blame anything. You just got to blame football. Like, you don't blame the coach. You don't blame the player. You blame football. Injuries are going to happen. That's just kind of like what happens. Is you play football, you get hit. Literally, those players are like mini car accidents. That are happening on a football field legally, like, right? Like with pads and stuff on. So it is what it is. But, you know, Deebo Samuel's gone on paper, you know, well, at least over the phone, not on paper yet. And possibly Brandon Aiyuk could be traded. You know what I mean? It's crazy to think that the Niners will move on from their two receivers. But if they do that, let's talk about some of the players that are here. Now, shout out to Coach Yak. Tim Kawakami on the 49ers replaced the Deebo Samuel spot in the wide receiving room. First of all, let me just make this clear. You can replace the spot, but you can never replace the player. So, yes, the spot will be filled as a wide receiver, but the impact will be different because Tariq Owens is different. I've heard they don't think they need to get a better wide receiver. Hint, hint. We might not be looking for a guy in free agency. All right. I'll tell you the name. I've heard Tariq Owens. They think he was good in practice squad. Maybe in the practice or on the practice squad. I feel like that's bad English. but nobody charges him for saying that wrong. But I definitely read it wrong. But Tim Kawakami, that don't sound right. They think he was good in practice squad. How about on the practice squad? They think he was good on the practice squad. Now, I'm not an English teacher. You know what I mean? I'm not an English teacher. I'm just saying. Might wanna correct that before they come after you like they do me for saying starts with a T and ends with an H. Should have said T and Higgins. Damn it, Niner faithful. Man, wish you wrote that for me. Anyway, no, I'm just messing around, guys. But let's look at the 49ers and what they have. And this is their current wide receiving room. Juwan Jennings clearly is going to be the number one option. So that's why I said he was number one. I know a lot of people be like, he's not number one. He's number three, number two, whatever. He's the number one guy. Come on now. Last season, phenomenal. Would have finished with 1,000 yards, but he got ejected in the game. Why are we trying to throw our guy down the trash? If I say he's number one, then support the guy and being the number one. He might not be a true set number one X wide receiver, but I thought he played the damn role pretty goddamn well last year and his contract season, and he's probably going to earn a contract not in San Francisco. Why? Because they're probably not going to go down the road of paying wide receivers big money again. So for Juwan Jennings, this is a year where he gets an opportunity to absolutely prove to the NFL that he belongs. And I will be sad if he decides to go test free agency, but I would not be mad. Sad and mad, two different emotions. Ricky Pearsall, coming off of that tragic season, how it started at the beginning, finished strong though, man. You got to give Ricky Pearsall, man, just one of the biggest round of applauses ever for just having a great mindset, right? Great mindset, strength, inner strength, support system. You know what I'm saying? I love it. I love it a lot. I do. I love what I saw from Ricky Pearsall. Still has to work on running routes and getting open. I think that's a part of his game that he struggled with in college. I kind of saw it here with the 49ers. But, man, we talk about a lot of teams in the NFL do play zone. And when they do, this guy finds the holes. And so when he finds the holes in the zone, that's when you get him that ball, and that's when he does his most damage. He has the speed. You saw him out of the backfield. You see really good flashes from Ricky Pearsall. We know Jacob Cowan can take the top off the defense easily, but what else can he do, and his contributions as a wide receiver? I think that's where it's going to, we got to see the progression from Jacob Cowan, especially. I mean, doesn't struggle with catching the ball, doesn't struggle beating man coverage and double coverage down the field. Those aren't weaknesses in his game. I guess he just has to become a better wide receiving blocker. I understand he has a small frame, but this is what Kyle Shanahan requires. You're going to be a wide receiver for the Niners, you have to be able to block. No block, no rock. And hopefully that trends up because he's going to get the opportunities. We got Brandon Aiyuk, who would be the one, but he's on the IR. All right, so let's just keep it a buck. All right, so then we got the guys that we signed to future reserve contracts. So if you see the F/R, that's what that stands for. Russell Gage, the veteran, Isaiah Hodgins, the veteran. All right, so those are two guys that could potentially be or earn contracts, just like Chris Conley. Chris Conley will be a free agent. So if people are saying that Chris Conley's on the roster, no. He will be a free agent. Now, they can re-sign him. They can re-sign him right now. I could be wrong. Maybe they did re-sign him. I don't know. But currently, he's on the roster, but he will be a free agent come March. So expect him to be a free agent. That's all I'm trying to say. So you got where am I at? Let's get to the practice squad guys. All right. Practice squad guys, Tariq Owens. We just heard from Kawakami about Tariq Owens. Listen, I hope he gets an opportunity. My thing is with these players, they're going to get opportunities. Can they capitalize on these opportunities? This is something that we can't sit here and say that we saw, that we don't know until we see it. We can believe it. I have faith that he can. Is that okay? I have faith that Tariq Owens can. He has the bloodline, so I have faith that he can, all right? So Tariq Owens should be good to go. He's going to get his opportunity. And I told you, man, that 2017 fifth-round draft pick, Trent Taylor, is on this roster. And like, you know what he provides? Security on special teams. He's just the guy. He secures the ball. I would like to see him more. But you got a veteran. on your practice squad. So you got Trent Taylor, Tariq Owens. Those are your 2 practice squad guys. I don't believe I'm missing anybody, and if I am, feel free to put it in the chat. All right, you got Jawan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, Jacob Cowing. Those are your 3 guys on the active roster, and then you got Brandon Aiyuk, who's currently on the IR, and then you got your 2 future reserve guys. Oh, and so like that's why I'm saying like I don't expect them to re-sign a guy like Chris Conley when they have a Russell Gage and an Isaiah Hodgins that can potentially earn a contract. So we'll see what happens. Do they bring in a free agent? That's the question. Who should the 49ers target in free agency at the wide receiver position? I'm not going to get into that on the show. Darius Slayton's name is being thrown around because he's a free agent wide receiver. I like Tutu Atwell from the Rams. Why not go after a guy that you can use as a weapon out of the backfield, can definitely take top off burnt us every time we played him. I like Tutu Atwell. So there's so many guys, but I'm going to be doing my works and my studies on that. So don't hold me to that, all right? Don't hold me to that. Listen, we're going to end the show on Combine Crushes. These are guys, the players that I feel like freaking crushed the Combine. And when I mean crushed the Combine, I mean crushed it with a hammer. I don't have a hammer sound, but bam, they crushed it. And I loved it. And these are 2 players that were in. If you don't get a chance, check out my playlist of my draft day targets. They're short, so they don't take you long to watch, I promise. And I make them just as entertaining as I can. They got sound effects. They got visuals. This is good. It's a minute of power from your boy Breezie. But check those out. Those are the players that I picked. I feel like would be good fits. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean we're going to be able to get any of them. But they'll be good fits for the 49ers. Armand Membu was definitely one of my tackles. You guys got a chance to witness what he did. I'm still sad that I didn't get a chance to see him at the Senior Bowl. Shout out to the Senior Bowl. I didn't get to see him at the Senior Bowl because he was sick. He came down with an illness, so he didn't get a chance to play in the Senior Bowl. But man, if I was there, I would have been heart in everything. Like, you know what I mean? It would have been heart. Because this is my draft crush. Armand Membu. Now the Niners got some tough decisions to make at that pick 11, and we think that pick 11 is locked in and secured, but they could go offensive tackle, and if Armand Membu has such a good performance at the Senior Bowl. And let me just read you his numbers. My goodness. Because I'm saying to myself, I knew it. First of all, he has the highest NFL.com grade as tackles. All right, as offensive lineman, 6.46, which means he's a day 1 starter, period. The highest you could get, I believe, is a 7, maybe an 8, but I feel like it's a 7. It's the highest you could get, right? He stands at 6'4". I felt like that was going to hinder him, his height. But before coming into the Combine and getting measured, he was 6'3". That's what was questioning me. I was like, dang, he's a little short. I can live with 6'4". That's a whole nother inch. Inches matter. Whole nother inch, though. You know what I mean? 6'4", 332. This kid is 332 pounds, and he ran a 4.91. A 4.91 with a 1.74 split? Now, I feel like as far as tackles, if you're going to go tackles, he had the fastest 40 time for tackles. He was explosive out there. The kid is athletic. Film doesn't lie. Go check out my risers from day 4. I put all his stats in there. You can see exactly what he did his last year in Missouri. The kid gave up 0 sacks, man. I don't know what else to say about Armand Membu. At 11, the Niners can go offensive line. I feel like if they go Membu, he's got to play. And so my thing is, does Colton McKivitz revert to being the backup? Like, you know what I mean? Does he go to being the backup? I don't know. That would be the question. Which, if he is, I think it would be best, because now he goes back to being what he was great at, swing tackle. So if you draft Membu, the plan for me, start Membu. I don't know if he could play on the right side. That's my only thing. Everything was done on the left. It's my only issue. But I feel like he should be able to. Defensively, I had to go Nick Iman Worry out of South Carolina, man. Y'all know I'm high on Andrew Makuba, but they play the position differently. So first, let me just explain the difference between Makuba and Eman Worry. Far as safety, they're both top safeties. One's better in coverage and all around. That's Eman Worry. That's him. That's the better guy. His height, 6'3", give it to me, baby. Speed, 4'4", 4'3", what did he run? Hold on. Let me get the right speed for him, because I don't wanna shy away from his hard work and ethics out there. 4.38. Smack me, call me Susan. 4.38 with a 1.49 split at the safeties. Almost had the fastest 40 time. Got beat out by Marcus Siegel. All right. But second fastest 44 from the safety position. And a lot of people are like, well, we don't need safety. So let me just explain to you the difference between Eman Worry and the safeties that we have. Can I get about 2 minutes to just do that, please? And shout out to everybody again that's out there. I see people have to leave. I appreciate you, Ben. I love you, my brother. Thank you so much for tuning in. I definitely appreciate you, okay? When I look at what Eman Worry can do out there, I mean, his explosiveness sets it off, right? Best broad jump, 11 foot 6 inches, explosiveness. Highest vertical, 43 inches, explosiveness. He's already 6'3", and he's got a 43-inch vertical. On top of that, he can play safety deep. This is what we're missing. And he has the speed at 4.38 to have range and cover wherever he needs to cover. Now, I know a lot of NFL defenses play quarter coverages, and that's why the Niners probably draft a lot of safeties where they only cover quarter part of the field, 1/4. That's what quarter stands for, 1/4 of the field. I get it. But the difference between Eman Worry in quarters coverage and Malik Mustafa in quarters coverage and Jair Brown in quarters coverage is night and mother freaking day. I want Malik, and I want, not Malik. I want Malik, and I want Jair Brown on this team just really firing off, playing in the box, and just be downhill missiles. That's Makuba. Makuba is this year's Malik Mustafa. He's violent. Period. End of discussion. Ready to knock somebody the freak out. That's who Makuba is. And I like those safeties, though. I grew up with safeties. I grew up in the Ronnie Lott era. You get my drift? But Ronnie could cover. I'm not saying Makuba can't cover, but Ronnie had the speed and he could cover. Makuba is not as great in coverage, but Eman Worry is the safety that I feel like would be the best fit for the 49ers. Obviously, he's going to go somewhere else. The Niners don't have the luxury, in my opinion. Not the luxury. They're not drafting in the right positions to get a guy like Eman Worry, because they got to make decisions. They can go Eman Worry, they can go there, but should they go there would be the question. If they need a tackle, if they need defense, they got to address the trenches, right? And so Eman Worry, I think, in my opinion, that kid's going to be scooted up into round 1 somewhere. All right, scooted up into round 1. Oscar, my brother, says it's just 1 of 4 players 6'3" or taller who've surpassed the 40-inch vertical and run sub 4.4 in the 40 since 2003. Bryce Ford Wheaton, Tariq Woolen, DK Metcalf are the others. That's a good company to be in. So those are my 2 draft crushes right now, Armand Membu, and I did not go with a defensive guy. First of all, my top 2 defensive tackles didn't play. But I told you at the beginning of the episode, rewind it, I said if we got to go defensive tackle late because it's deep, if we got to go late, get my man C.J. West, hands down. Get C.J. West. He's athletic, he's quick, he's fast, has the get off, and he stops the run. Can beat double teams. He stops the run. That's what I like about him. C.J. West would be a nice piece for the 49ers defensive front, especially if they decide to address the edge position a bit early. you could see the Niners definitely looking to take a couple of defensive tackles that might just fall to the wayside, like the Ty Robinson from Nebraska, who ran the fastest 40 time for the defensive tackles, and it's just ridiculous. Like the dude is like 6'7". Dude looks like a mountain and ran a 4.83. Yeah, I remember it by heart. Like, that kid is a problem. And on top of that, led the Big Ten when it came to pressures. Like, this kid is a monster. I think he finished with double-digit sacks as well from the interior. He's more of a pass-rushing defensive tackle. But at the end of the day, he probably has that same motor. And what I like, I think the reason why I liked him at the Senior Bowl, Ty Robinson from Nebraska, is because what I saw in Braden Fisk the year before. The get-off is there. The get-off is there. 1,000%. The get off is there. All right, man. Shout out to everybody that tuned in to today's live episode. Let me know what you think. Feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. If you watch this a little bit later, make sure you hit that like button if you're just watching. All right. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if this is your first time watching. Hopefully, we can get YouTube to start pushing this joint out a little bit more. I appreciate you. I love you 1,000%. Let me make sure I didn't miss out on some of the questions. I see my man Niner Faithful says, Breezie, any players disappointed me from the combine that you had high hopes for? Well, let's talk about my guy Tyler Booker. I felt like he's just not athletic. He's just super strong. Did really well in the drills, but when it comes to speed, you're not going to get anything. Like, you didn't get the speed, you didn't get the vert, you didn't get the explosiveness, so that's not going to be there. What you're going to get from Tyler Booker is a strong-ass ox on the offensive line. And what I liked about Tyler Booker, even though his speed and stuff like that disappointed me, I don't think it's going to hinder him, especially if he proves he's a strong guy out there. You're going to run these power runs. That's what you need out there. They worked him out after the combine, and he took center snaps. I thought that was dope. You know what I'm saying? Just to up his stock a little bit, right? Because he's going to be a freaking guard. And he's a guard built like a tackle, right? That's the issue. So will he fit the 49ers? Man, it's hard to say. 40 slope, but the 10-yard split wasn't great either, so the speed's not there, and we're a zone run team. But at center, might be a little different conversation. You know what I'm saying? Might be a different conversation. So Tyler Booker, probably his measurables are great. The dude is big, tall, 6'5", strong, big weight, but he's immovable though. That's what I don't get. Listen, he's just a kid that can play football, and I'm not saying that because that's my guy. I'm just saying that because that's what I watch. You go watch the Alabama. Like, good luck. He's immovable, meaning you're not going to be able to get past him. That's what I like about him. But for some reason in the drills, he just wasn't, to me, I just don't feel like he prepared well to run, and I don't think he cared at this point. He ran it. Shout out to him. Them big guys out there running their hearts out. I don't think he cared, in my opinion. So if I had to pick a guy that I felt like might have disappointed me, would have been him, because I thought he was a little bit more agile, a little bit more quicker. Didn't have a terrible 3-cone though. The 3-cone was decent. Let me go check out my man's 3-cone. And you know what? For me, when it comes to offensive linemen, there's 2 numbers I pay attention to. Well, 3. I'm not gonna lie. The arm length, obviously, you want the 33 to 34-inch arm length. That's what you're looking for, right? Anything 33 and above, you're golden, right? But what I liked about him, I think his 3-cone was good. And if his 3-cone was good, that's a plus. All right, let me just check. I got it in my. It wasn't great. It was a 7.96. So his 3-cone, like I said, his agility is probably average. Nothing explosive. But I mean, he's just a solid freaking pass protector. That's what he is. That's what he is. He's going to go to a team that likes that, and he's going to be a fucking plug. He's an anchor out there, man. Like, the kid is bad. I like, the kid is good bad. Like, you know what I mean? in a good way. You know what I'm saying? But listen, you guys are amazing. Appreciate you guys for just taking time out of your day to tune into this live show. I appreciate you supporting the 49ers content world out there. You guys are amazing. You guys get the round of applause. And again, man, I just thank y'all for supporting and watching every single time we go live here on the Wayne Breezie channel. And feel free, man, in the comment section of the show, let me know what you guys think. Who are your top guys? I'll try to put some chapters up in here so I could break this down. Shout out to everybody that was watching on Facebook and Twitter and Twitch. Forgot we streamed on all 4 on a Monday. Listen, I can tell you right now, that the mother freaking free agency is about to kick off and it's about to get dirty. Nasty and dirty. Get ready to be tuned in. More shows coming this week. Make sure you check out the recorded shows as well. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate you guys. Felicia, thank you so much. Until the next time, keep it faithful to the mother loving babe.